Good evening, everyone. At this time, we ask for all the city council members to please have a seat on stage. City council members, have a seat on stage.
Levels good, John? Oh, there we go. Yeah. By height, not by order. By order. I don't know what I'm saying.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our 2022 State of the City Address. We appreciate you all coming out to help us celebrate our past successes and look forward to the new ones that you'll hear about tonight. We will open this evening with our invocation by Minister Shaunta Patton from United People's Community Church.
Good afternoon. Let's go before the Lord. If everybody could please stand. Gracious and wonderful Father, we just thank you for the opportunity today to come before you with a strategy on how we can make the city of Jackson better. I pray that you bless every member of leadership here on the stage and who may be absent with wisdom and understanding and unity as we move forward in Jackson. We just thank you and we love you in Jesus' precious name. We all said, amen.
Thank you, Minister Patton. At this time, we'll have the National Anthem sung by Calvena or Kelli Mahoney.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Wow, that was powerful. She killed that. I know your dad is the mayor, but you didn't get that from your dad. Beautiful job, beautiful job. The next voice you hear will be the voice of our Director of Parks and Recreation, Mrs. Kelli Hoover.
Hello, I'm very short, so I apologize. Thank you, John, for the save. Hi, as John mentioned, my name is Kelli Hoover. I am a proud City of Jackson employee for 24 years and very proud to be here tonight, Mayor. Thank you for the invite. And very proud to have you all here at the Booze Recreation Center. As we sit, you're sitting in a building that was created by the Clean Michigan Initiative Act in 1970. Many of you have been in this building, and it hasn't probably changed much, correct? Right? Yeah. We've been here for various programs. You might be voting. You might be coming to a B2 Watchers meeting. Many things happen here that keep our community going, that keep us meeting our neighbors, and keep communication alive. In our plans for the Booze Center, I almost said King Center, sorry. The Booze Center, we in 2016 embarked on our first ever master plan for the Booze Center in Loomis Park. That was pretty exciting. We didn't have one before. We worked with the B2 Watchers and the Health Department and a few other groups to bring that process alive. A lot was said, a lot of communication was brought to life, and here we sit today. As I've talked about before, we are making changes already here at the Booze Recreation Center and in the park. Currently, may not sound exciting, but it is very exciting, and I say that every time. We have a new HVAC system coming here to the Booze Center. We have a very aged boiler. It's going to be more efficient and effective and start us on the process of reconstruction of the Booze Center and a new playground, picnic shelter, lights, And a lot of that you've already seen. We have a new trail going from the 2 parking lots out back of the Booze Center, basketball court, a new roof on our building, and many other projects happening. So we're really excited to be here today for the meeting because that's exciting. And we are very excited to see the future of the Booze Recreation Center because I think it's very strong. You're going to see meeting rooms, you're going to see more areas for people to congregate and have, if you want to come to your homework or different activities like that. One of the great parts of the Parks and Recreation Department, it's a very big department. How many people here have participated in a Parks and Recreation program? Please raise your hand. How many people work for the Parks and Recreation Department at some point in their life? Okay, usually, yeah, Diet. And Diet is a great story, and she's somebody I'll point out right now. She's one of my favorite people in the world. She came to me when she was a student at Jackson High School, said, I'm looking for a job, and by far probably one of the best employees we've ever had at the Parks and Recreation Department. I'm not just saying that, she's amazing. Sorry to my husband, I know he worked at the Parks and Rec in college. But she has come through the system. She's exactly what we have and exactly what you vote for every 10 years, which is our recreation millage, which provides programs for free or nominal for people in our community, for programs in your neighborhood, programs in walking distance that you can go to and participate in. And we always make sure everybody's included. It's very inclusive. And Dee went through that. I have pictures of her in the 3rd grade playing basketball. She's gone through the system and worked in it and then put back in and is now a full-time employee with the City of Jackson. So give a round of applause for Diet. That's truly your millage money for the Recreation Department right there working the way it's supposed to back into our community. So I'm very proud to be here. I'm a very proud, as I said, city employee. I couldn't pick a better place to work. I hope to be here for a much longer time. And proud to know a majority of people in this room, to get to know our community, and conversations I think are great. And so I really appreciate that. I know John will do another announcement here for the next speaker, but Antoine Williams is also let's see, I think he went through every program we've had. He is the supervisor here at the Booze Recreation Center providing programs, and he'll talk about that. But again, a great alumni of the Parks and Recreation Department. Thank you, everyone.
And as Kelli said, your next speaker is Mr. Antoine Williams, longtime activity supervisor and program leader for a lot of Parks and Recreation programs. One of my old former basketball players. Y'all may not recognize him now, but he used to get up and play in the air, fly a lot like that, dunk like that. But we both been putting in some other work, so.
I am his favorite basketball player. It's good to be here today on this great event. It's just great to be a part of the city. Like you said, I've been here for a long time. Worked here for 19 years. I know it don't look like you do. Yeah, just tell you a little bit about the Booze Center, what we have to offer. We offer daily exercise classes for everybody, all ages. We have about 100 participants every day, each week, and the classes are affordable. I don't think you're gonna find any better price around the county. So, also we have open gym times from 3 to 5 every day for all kids and all ages really, but yeah, it's just open for everybody. We get about 50 participants every day, so it's something for everybody to look into. Booze Center is like a hub for adult activities. We got all types of leagues we have. We in the middle of our volleyball season right now. We do all types. We got an indoor soccer league. Indoor soccer, that's really big with us. And one of my personal favorite is dodgeball. Dodgeball, oh man, to see some 30-something-year-old people just throwing balls at each other, taking the anger out, yeah, that's great. We also have one of the heart of our center, the Gymnastics Program. We run that on Saturday. That's a really big program for us. Brings out a lot of families. The kids are great. The instructors is great. We have one of our instructors over there, Hannah. She's the up-and-coming instructor. She's going to take over soon. And last but not least, our senior program. That is a very big one for us as well. I mean, that's been running long as I've been alive, as I know. So, but that's real great. That one is really big for us. I mean, they bring about maybe over 100 participants every day. They go to lots of trips they go to casino trips, have dinners at Gene Davis, and they just does a lot. And they have bingo. The bingo is very intense, guys. All right, bingo is good. So, yeah, I mean, if you have a chance, and as we get the new improvement or whatever, feel free to come check us out. So that's all I have. All right.
I tried to get him to dunk one for you guys before he left, but he wasn't buying that. The next speaker that you'll hear, we are fortunate to have back here in Jackson with us. He's worked everywhere, building strategic partnerships from NASCAR to the NFL, and to have him now as the executive director for our Chamber of Commerce in Jackson means a lot for our city. Very pleased with the efforts that he's making in diversity and equity and things that he sees in the business community. Please welcome Mr. Craig Hatch, Executive Director, Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for coming and supporting our great city and our great city council, mayor, and city manager. Great group behind me that I have had the pleasure to work with, even Daniel. Prior to this, we've had some workings together in several areas that affect our community and our city and our county, and I'll tell you, we're in good hands. So it's a round of applause for our new mayor. So Mayor Mahoney asked me to talk a little bit about why it's important for the city and the chamber to work together. And I took a look at both of our mission statements and vision statements. And I'm just going to read you a few lines from each of them. From the city, improve the quality of life for our residents. Also from the city, be a bold and inclusive city. From the chamber, create a vibrant, inclusive community through meaningful partnerships. From the city, innovate economic development. Again, from the chamber, advocate for dynamic business and economic development. We're in the same sandbox. We're trying to do the same things, albeit the chamber is county, but we're county and city, and the city is our nucleus. So it is very important for the city to work with entities like the chamber, and as I said, I'm proud to say that our city is working with us and the other entities to make sure we do everything we can to work together to make it better. Now that sounds like it should be easy, because our missions, our visions, pretty much the same. Not that simple. A couple other stats that I thought of when I was thinking about this. So our city council, our mayor, and our city manager, they represent, and don't quote me on these numbers, about 35,000 residents, 1,400 businesses. That's a lot. I'm sure this group behind me will tell you that can be fun sometimes, probably interesting and gratifying, but also very challenging. At the chamber, we have 750 businesses and their 35,000 teammates, employees. And those are all, even though again it's county, we're all in the same space. And so those two entities really combine together and work together and need to work together because again, we're all kind of one. And as I read earlier, we have very similar missions and goals. This is going to cause debate at times. This is going to cause healthy debate, which is what has happened, and I see our previous mayor here. I want to say again, thank you. Derek and I have had a few conversations, always respectful, sometimes agree and sometimes disagree, but we have great conversation representing those we represent to try to make the best decisions, and I know, again, they make very difficult decisions every day, so we enjoy working with this group to get to those, to collaborate and make those decisions. So what does this mean for the city and the chamber and our relationship? It means we need to talk. We need to advocate for those that we represent. Again, sometimes the same, sometimes different, sometimes from different views, but all still trying to meet those same missions and visions. We need to listen to each other's reasonings and understand the points of views, even though if we agree, disagree, or continue to debate, but listen to each other and talk to each other to make sure we're at least making educated decisions. I want to thank the mayor, city manager, and your city council for the time they have spent in the past listening to the community, listening to entities like the Chamber of Commerce, and I look forward to working with you in the future and doing some hard work. Thank you.
One of the most exciting things that I'm learning is when you look into history and you start to see and study the momentous occasions that help shape your city, help shape your history. Tonight, we're blessed enough to be able to have a couple of those occasions. Just over 2 years ago, the City of Jackson created its first City of Jackson Youth Council. They were hampered somewhat by the pandemic, like all of us were for everything else, but they fought through, they endured. And tonight, for the first time in our city's history, you will hear from the chairperson of the City of Jackson Youth Council, Chairperson Kelli Higgins.
The City of Jackson Youth Council, a council to create opportunities for youth to cultivate valuable leadership skills through youth-led advocacy, improving the quality of life for current and future residents of Jackson and inspiring them to be involved in local government. A council to promote civic engagement among youth in the City of Jackson. The Youth Council is utilizing and promoting these leadership skills in actions through a wide variety of youth-led community service, advocacy, and activism initiatives. The Youth Council is also empowering and equipping generations of young people to create positive change in their communities for the future of Jackson. The Youth Council consists of local high school students in Jackson who would like to make a difference in their local government. The council is tasked with making recommendations to the Jackson City Council concerning the needs of children, families, and young adults in Jackson. As chairperson of the City of Jackson Youth Council, I am here today to speak on behalf of the council in regard to what we believe is affecting our youth in the community in today's world. As new generations emerge and go through life on the way to adulthood, there's always a unique set of challenges and issues that each generation must deal with. Some of these issues are brought by an amount of several modern influencing factors that can be found within today's society's faster pace of life, while other issues have always been there, yet have not been properly addressed until now. Today's technology has amplified common struggles while also creating unique issues that no previous generation has ever had to deal with, which is why it is our generation's job to bring awareness to the cause. Only a few decades ago, the most common problems teens faced were finding a career path and starting a family. In fact, the word teenager wasn't even a thing until the 1920s. Today, however, teens are facing problems unique to our time. Starting off with an old age struggle that most generations can identify with is mental health. Self-care and mental health are a bigger part of public conversation than ever before, and us teens have raised it as our major priority. Many young people have spoken about feeling isolated and overwhelmed, misunderstood, and searching for help. Many of these issues were amplified by the pandemic and quarantining, including loneliness and fear. Re-entering in-person life brings a new set of anxieties. Teens who have been home for months in isolation from their peers during this critical time of social development are having to relearn how to exist with other people and how to handle the awkwardness that it can ensure. Feeling misunderstood by pressure from and disconnected from their families, highlighting the importance of a community of supportive adults. Depression is an example of an adolescent issue that has always been around but has fortunately gained more public attention in recent years. The taboo nature of acknowledging mental health problems is becoming more and more a thing of the past. Today's world can easily affect my generation's health more than ever, as with young people accessing social media during their formative years is a recipe for disaster, as young people at this point in their lives are on a journey to self-discovery. So for these young people to be constantly peering into a digital world of unrealistic standards, they are sure to hinder their self-worth. Along with these causes and effects towards mental health, there are also so many other factors leading to mental health issues within youth, including social justice, academic problems, peer pressure, social media, and a now virtual world. Regarding social justice, we now live in a world with more youth than ever being involved in government, whether school or local government. Teens today care about what is happening socially and politically. We have heard over and over about the need for greater equity, equality, and advocating for human rights. We've felt the direct effects of issues like immigration and racial inequality, and they are dedicated to activism. While they can use these tactics of teens and others from other decades, such as peaceful protests, we are also adept at harnessing the power of modern tools like TikTok to share our opinions and hear from others. Diversity, respect, and empathy are leading values of this. Next is the newly virtual world we now live in. The pandemic increased the use of virtual tools with almost all schools, especially high schools, moving to primarily online classes for much of 2020 and into 2021. But when speaking about the ways the digital world and constant screen time is impacting their lives, it was much bigger than that. The dual struggles of information overload plus the misinformation rampant online brings stress, and youth don't always know where to turn for resources or people they can trust. While teens have shown incredible resilience in adapting to this new way of working and being, they find it increasingly difficult to focus and worry about long-term effects. Communication is also a topic of concern. Developing connections with other people is different than we are used to, and many are finding it hard to readjust to a regular life. Teens have been communicating only virtually, and it is taking a toll. We are navigating the differences between talking online through text to back in-person conversations, feeling like we don't always know the new rules and are being misrepresented. In addition to this also comes academic problems, another issue important to the minds of many young people in today's world. In recent years, there has been an increase in school students dropping out of their senior years of high school. According to the recent studies, high school dropouts are likely to earn $200,000 less over their lifetime compared to a standard high school graduate, which can have a significant impact on a young person's future. This increase in students vacating school early is not due to an increase in troubled teens. Quite, in fact, the opposite. Gen Z has shown to have an overall more studious approach to their education. As a result, however, some teens feel so much pressure to get into a good college that they're burning themselves out before they can even graduate from high school. One of the best ways to counteract this issue is for you to stay involved in your youth's education, provide support and guidance where needed, and overall let them know that final exams are not the all and end of it. It's hard for young people to apply unnecessary pressure to themselves if you continue to support them. This signifies the stigma associated with exams and simply let them know that you love them regardless of whatever results they received. Each and every one of these issues mentioned can circle back to mental health, from academic problems to social justice. The effects of mental health can make these issues even worse, as well as these issues making mental health worse, which is why it is our job to now bring awareness. Besides these issues, mental health is lastly being affected due to a major change we have faced starting 2 years ago. Although I've mentioned the effects of a virtual world in mental health, it is also important to note that the deteriorating mental health in youth has emerged in studies after the first few months of the pandemic's onset. Although youth vary greatly in their experiences and responses to the pandemic, studies that followed youth from before the pandemic to sometime in the first 6 months of the pandemic report increases in adolescent depression and negative effects, but also little change or even decreases in anxiety, irritability, and self-injury. As the pandemic has worn on, however, youth show more consistent elevations in anxiety, depression, and stress. This is particularly true for marginalized young people such as African American, Latino, low-resource, and LGBTQ youth. There are so many timely events and issues that the youth are currently facing, and I am thankful to be in a position to speak on behalf of other youth to bring awareness to what we face. On behalf of the Youth Council, I must say we have a vision of making Jackson a place for youth to enjoy themselves, know of the resources they may need, and lastly have a great quality of life in Jackson. We hope to encourage other Jackson youth to cultivate valuable leadership skills, promote civic engagement among youth, And finally, join us on our mission and vision of improving life for current and future young residents of Jackson by joining the Youth Council. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the City of Jackson Youth Council today. As a proud youth resident of the City of Jackson, I believe it is our job to empower and equip generations of young people to create positive change in the community to maintain and determine the future of Jackson. Thank you.
Wow, let's clap our hands for Kelli again. Can you imagine writing something like that in 10th grade? Wow. I think in 10th grade, my best writing paper, I was actually kicked out of history class for. Mr. Brown caught me writing all the lyrics to Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight. And I was, y'all know what that is. Some of y'all don't act like y'all were back there too. Up next, the councilman, our city council member from this ward, Mr. Freddie Dancy.
Calm down. I'd like to thank each and everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you for hanging out, coming to the second ward. I am the second ward council member. Just like to thank city manager, thank the mayor for putting me on the schedule. I thank all my council members. Also, a special thanks go out to staff. Staff, they do so much in the city. They just do so much behind the scenes. So I just want to thank all the staff for everything that they do. I'm excited about a lot going on in the city, but also what's happening in the second ward. I know we talked about the Booth Center. We got some great things happening over here on the playground, but also we have with Allen School, we have a new development coming. I think 6 to 8 apartments will be there, so I'm proud of that. Also, just like to thank, I know during COVID, there's a lot going on, but I'm so proud of the Boo and the volunteers who did a lot for the food pantry, passing out food, and also like partial the girls, they did a lot of great things there. So I just thank each and every one for pitching in, helping out with everything that they did. Again, I won't be here as long as she was, I promise you that. But again, I just like to thank each and every one for coming out, hanging out here at the second ward, and I appreciate it, and I thank you so much. Good evening.
Thank you, Councilman Dancy. Up next, you'll hear from a person that's been working in our community for a while, leading their Aware Shelter. Now, she's one of our own city council members. Her ward starts just 2 or 3 blocks away from here. Please welcome City Council Member Angelita Gunn.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Mr. Mayor, to join you here on the stage tonight and to speak to you, even though this is not my ward. It's a neighborhood I know very affectionately. I grew up in this ward right across from St. John's Church, and I actually played in this playground as a little child. So this is all very affectionate to me. I have a lot of wonderful memories of the Booth Center and particularly Loomis Park. I'm from the 3rd Ward. Again, I'm Angelita Velasco Gunn, and newest city council member. So in all of my 3 months of wisdom, yes, my ward starts about 2 blocks over on Leroy and then goes north, further north and further east and west, so a big ward. But I'm excited to be here at the city council, and I feel when I've come, my perceptions are that these jobs are daunting. The tasks that we have ahead of us as a city are daunting, and sometimes can be very overwhelming. So it's prioritizing things that the city has been plotting and methodically moving ahead with, like the infrastructure, so looking at roads and looking at the pipes and looking at the housing stock. Those are ongoing issues that every city faces, and Jackson is no different. And balancing those issues that have been here for a really long time and that we're tackling slowly and steadily with issues that present themselves as opportunities. And so a couple of examples of things that are coming are the the police oversight, so the task force, the commission to look at policing and look at the relationship with local police departments with community and how we can improve those relationships. And then looking at the housing commission, and not only creation of these commissions, but also taking the opportunities for funding. So we have to seize opportunities when they become available to us. And so sometimes it might appear to people in our constituents and people who are out there watching city council meetings that we're plodding along in one direction and then all of a sudden we're jumping into another direction. But in reality, we're managing a lot as a city. And if I were to put together a to-do list and put what's number one, everything would be number one. Everything would be first on the list. And in reality, we can't tackle things that way. We have to do them slow and methodical. And I think that under our new leadership with Mayor Mahoney, I think we've seen a lot of great things happen under our former leadership with former Mayor Dobies, and that we're going to continue to work towards building communities and cities where individuals and families can thrive. Thank you.
The next speaker you hear will introduce our mayor, and he means more to her than he does to any of us, but she also means a lot to me. I have a little confession to make. I carry a picture of the mayor's wife around in my wallet. Let me explain. So growing up, I grew up with her family, her mom and her dad, and I was at their house quite a bit. When I was young, I was a pretty good-looking young fellow way back in the day, So I'd always tell my daughters this, and they're like, yeah, okay, Dad, we hear what you're saying. But anyway, one of my sisters gave her a picture, and I was looking kind of good on the picture. But in the background was her mother holding her on the picture. So she's in that picture so I can show my daughters what I used to look like. So, back then I had like the body of a Greek god, I was something special. My wife says still the body of a god is just Buddha now. But the next speaker, her mother, Michelle, was a beautiful singer. Her family means so much to us. She is the wife of our honorable mayor. Please welcome Mrs. Semaj Mahoney.
Say don't start none. Won't be none. Okay. So when I met my husband Daniel, and when my husband Daniel first told me he wanted to run for mayor of the city of Jackson, I was happy and a little nervous. As he has said in numerous interviews, I told him I thought he could aim even higher. You see, when I first met Daniel, he was a rapper, then a college student who studied many subjects from entrepreneurship to culinary arts, and he was keenly interested in event planning and politics, as well as working in the wireless industry. He wanted to do it all. For years, this was something that I just didn't understand because I was the type of person to pick one thing and go for it. So I had to pray and ask God for guidance. In my studies, I found 1 Peter 4:10, which says, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. So after much prayer and many conversations, I learned that he was a man who had been blessed with many talents, and he would continue to grow and continue to do more. So I just jumped on board. Whatever he wanted to do, I was riding. I believe that he can do anything that he envisions for himself. This scripture also allowed me to understand his great heart for service and how much the Jackson community truly is very special to him. He's the right man at the right time for a blooming city. And tonight, I'm so excited to introduce him to you so that he can share some of the great visions that he sees for this beautiful city. Please give me a warm welcome to Mayor Daniel Mahoney.
Trying to stop my eyes from sweating, between my baby's beautiful voice and my beautiful baby, saying all these wonderful things up here. Good evening. Now, I know it's either just after dinner time or just before dinner time, and I know we have all had a very long day, but we're going to be here for a long time if y'all don't give me a little bit more energy than that, okay? Let's try that again. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. All right. Now, I don't know if y'all knew that y'all came to help me speak tonight, but you did, and I appreciate the feedback, okay? So, good evening. My name is Mayor Daniel J. Mahoney, and I know that just like when I show up in most places and I introduce myself, the biggest question on your mind right now is what does the J stand for, right? So, it just depends usually, right? So today it may stand for that I just finished my speech. You can ask Aaron. It may stand for I'm just trying to get through this speech because I've been up since 4 a.m. Most of the time it stands for just trying to do my part. But if you ask my mother, it just stands for Jermaine. So I had to say what's up to my mama right here, right? I want to thank God for guiding me here. Thank my mother and my father for making me who I am, and my brother for helping me develop a thick skin over the childhood years of my life, and all my siblings and my friends for supporting me, and my wife, Semaj, for being my best friend, being my backbone, like she said, literally believing in me and riding with me through every single crazy idea, because if it was up to me, I would probably be up here rapping instead of saying the speech right now. But God has a weird way of getting you where he wants you to be at, and I definitely think this is the right place. And to my 5 babies, who probably not paying attention, they brought their tablets, y'all. But to my 5 daughters, Daddy wants you to know that every moment that I have to sacrifice not being there for you is so that you can reap the rewards and the benefits of what the future beholds. And I mean that. So I want to thank every and any public official from the state or county who decided to join us tonight, the members of the clergy who decided to join us tonight, any members from the court, and the City of Jackson council members sitting behind me, who are my partners in laying the groundwork to make Jackson a better place for us all. Alongside the administration, all of the staff that worked so hard, like Councilmember Dancy said, they worked so hard to follow through on all the promises that us politicians make, like events like this. Last but certainly not least, I want to acknowledge you all, the residents of this great city of Jackson, and thank you for coming out tonight. I'd like to extend a special thank you to a friend, a brother, former Mayor Derek Dobies, not only for tapping me on the shoulder and extending his support for me to become the next mayor, but also for driving the work and the policy necessary for pushing Jackson to a positive, progressive direction. Absolutely. He did not pay me to say that, y'all. I would like to give a special thank you to our Parks and Rec Department, Director Kelli Hoover, wherever she went to. I know she's, okay, there you are. Director Kelli, Joe Hawley, who could not be here tonight, and Antoine Williams for allowing us the space here at the Booth Center to host this event, as well as Lisa. I see Lisa here. I didn't even know she was going to be here, but I should have known. But as well as Lisa, our office administrator, for being the glue that holds our team together up on the 14th floor, and also the person who texts me when I forget that I have a meeting and lets me know that my appointment is here. So thank you for the work that you do. It's so great to be able to see you all here live and in person, and not just see you, but to see your faces smiling, frowning, and everything in between. You know, the last 2 years have been tough. Gathering restrictions, death, sickness, isolation, the world was brought to almost a halt, and Jackson was no different. businesses closing, work from home, school from home, wearing masks, wiping down groceries. I don't know if y'all did, but we did. Wipe down groceries. And all kinds of uncertainties everywhere. And the eruption for social injustices and outcry for not just equality, but equity and inclusion in the midst of it all. But Jackson, we still here. We are still here. And as the mayor of this great city, I am proud to say that Jackson, the state of our city, is some bets on this right now from the back. I'm not going to rig it. But the state of our city, in my opinion, is that we are in the midst of a renaissance. If you've heard me speak before, then you know that I love to provide definitions so that we are all on the same page. And today will be no different. Renaissance, as defined by Oxford Languages, is a revival of renewed interest in something. Synonymous with words like resurrection, reawakening, reemergence, rejuvenation, reconstruction, reactivation. It is a French word that literally means rebirth. A mentor of mine, who I also didn't know was going to be here tonight, Mr. Anthony Parker, told me, he said, Mahoney, you got to tell him what you're going to tell him, and then tell him what you told him. So, Mr. Parker, when I get finished, make sure you let me know if I understood the assignment. Jackson, we are a work in progress in the midst of a rebirth. So tonight is an opportunity to acknowledge the accomplishments we have made, discuss opportunities we need to work on, and create a vision of what the future of Jackson will become. But I'm going to need your help. Is that okay? Remember I told y'all came to help me speak, right? I need your help, okay? Or we going to be here a long time. I need your help. So when I was president of the NAACP, I used to ask a question every time I spoke. And the question was, do you know what time it is? The time is now. Okay, see, some of y'all remember. I like that. Some of y'all remember. Okay, now, that is exactly it. The proper response was the time is now, right? So tonight, we're going to switch it up a little bit. I'm not going to use that one. I want y'all to remember this one, okay? Because I'm going to use it as often as possible. And I need y'all to help me out, okay? So when I say see some action, I need y'all to respond to me with conviction in Jackson. Can we try it out? Yeah, sure. We want to see some action in Jackson. Let's try it again. We're going to do it 3 times. The 3 times you committed to memory. We want to see some action. Okay, now to almost all of y'all said at that time, we want to see some action in Jackson. That's right, that's right. We want to see some action in Jackson. Over the last year, we were able to make much progress and seeing some action. Okay, roll with me now, roll with me. Okay, roll with me. I might say it a couple times, try to catch you off guard. Okay, reopening of the fire station number 2, purchase of a new fire engine, and we welcome 7 new firefighters. The fire department brought on the most new firefighters the department has brought on in several decades. And that's what I would call action. All right. We dedicated former McCulloch School as School Park as Workers Memorial Park to honor workers killed on the job and those who have served on the front line of the community during the pandemic. And to me, that's what I would call action. There we go. We dedicated $4.5 million in American Rescue Funds to programs to create, maintain, and rehab affordable housing in Jackson and established an Affordable Housing Commission. And I would consider that action in Jackson. Okay, hello. Our Milltown distribution, which was a partnership between Consumers Energy and the City of Jackson, and others joined in, feeding thousands and supporting our locally owned food businesses like Kenny Cakes, Brass Rail, and Big Guys Catering. And my friends, that is what I call action. All right. Great work being done by the staff over at Henry Ford Center for Family Health, our county health department, all keeping us safe, reducing the impacts of COVID-19, and administering thousands of vaccinations and booster shots, allowing us to return to some form of normalcy. And again, to me, that is action. All right. But I say to you, though, we cannot be satisfied with what we've accomplished when we still have so many challenges left to face, so much further left to go in this rebirth of Jackson. Now tonight I am filled with joy, but at the same time my heart is heavy for the losses that we've taken as a community, not from COVID-19, but to the senseless violence that continues to plague our community. Most recently, Taylor Alexander, Kershana Walker, Sadell Arnold, and so many more who leave behind weeping mothers, weeping fathers, weeping friends, weeping families, weeping children in our community. The time is now for us to wrap our arms around this issue as a community and help prevent this from ever happening again. So the city of Jackson, the Jackson Police Department, the County of Jackson, Jackson Sheriff's Department, Jackson College, Baker College, Spring Arbor University, and the Juneteenth Committee has collaborated with the Jackson Prosecutor's Office to put together a summit to reduce violence. That's taking place at the American One Event Center on April the 8th, 2022. The registration is open right now. I'm personally inviting you, personally asking you to show up, speak out, be present, participate, bring your solutions so that they can be implemented and help address not just the issues of gun violence itself, but also the root causes to these issues. We can't just always look to just law enforcement to solve this problem, because we cannot police our way out of this issue. In addition, Chief Hitt, I see you in the building. We're going to be hiring soon a coordinator position for the Group Violence Intervention Program, an evidence-based approach designed to reduce street group violence, meeting it with deterrence, not just enforcement. This approach allows community to come together with law enforcement and social services to improve public safety. I also want to make sure to publicly commend Chief Hitt for the development of a new strategy of hiring police recruits to send directly to the academy. This should result in a more diverse and larger applicant pool. So far, we have sent a total of 6 applicants to the academy under this new strategy. So thank you for that good work, Chief Hitt. Absolutely, that absolutely deserves an applause. Right now, I want to acknowledge and lift up the chairperson of our youth council, Kelli Higgins. Thank you for the wonderful words that you said tonight. Thank you, youth council in general, for serving. I want you to know that I hear you. Not only do I hear you, but I'm listening with intent to see action around the issues and concerns that you've raised, and follow through on the suggestions of solutions that you presented in your vision of making Jackson a place for youth to enjoy themselves, know the resources that they may need, and have a great quality of life. Jackson, we have to work harder at elevating the voices of our young people, because they have all the answers. I know y'all think, as parents and grandparents and everything else, they think they know everything. Guess what? They do. Ask them to have a challenge in working your phone. I bet they win. They know way more than us, and way more than we give them credit for. And to me, mental health support
parental support in education with less pressure for results, and creating spaces that they can just be kids and just have fun is not too much to ask for. That's an easy ask. Tonight you heard from the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Craig, for coming out, and thank you for those words. I thought it was important to allow Craig a few minutes to speak because the Jackson Chamber represents the voice of 750 businesses in our community. And our relationship with the Chamber, the Anchor Initiative, Scott, see you in the building. Thank you for all the work that you do as well. The MEDC and others, it is imperative to seeing continued growth in economic development in our community. So we can continue to see projects like the Allen Loft with 67 market rate units right here in the Second Ward. Retail space in that building as well. Now, I don't know if you knew this, but that building has been vacant for 15 years. Projects like bringing the Commonwealth Associates into the old Comerica building, which is retaining 120 jobs and adding 60 new jobs. Cooper and North Street will soon see a new Big B Coffee. That Big B Coffee will employ 11 people. So we have to continue that work and continue to build those relationships so we can continue to see those types of economic development projects happen in our community. So what will come in 2022? Well, as was mentioned before, the facility that we are sitting in right now, the Booz Recreational Center, will be getting a much needed HVAC system replacement, some upgrades. Loomis Park will get a new playground, picnic shelter, walking path, and landscape. This summer of 2022, the City of Jackson will be partnering with the YMCA to provide lifeguards and swim lessons at Nixon Pool. If nobody else is happy, my babies are going to be happy because they love to go to Nixon Park. The reactivation of the Masonic Temple downtown Jackson with a new commercial kitchen where entrepreneurs and startup businesses can launch and grow their food-based businesses. And I am also super excited to announce to you that we will finally see the renovation of the Hayes Hotel, downtown Jackson, Michigan. Absolutely. This has been worked on for a very, very long time, and I definitely want to say thank you to the entire team of people who helped put this together and make this happen. This is going to take a $30 million investment. It will include residential space, office space, and commercial space, and it is going to happen. Tonight, we celebrate these wins. But personally, I like to celebrate short. And again, not be satisfied. Because there is so much more work yet to be done. So I currently have the privilege of serving as the vice chair of the Martin Luther King Corridor Improvement Authority, where the mission is to promote economic growth and development by aiding in the reinvestment and revitalization of property and supporting business opportunities within its district area. The MLK CIA, it stretches from MLK and Franklin down to MLK and South Street. And then it goes from Prospect and Cooper up to Prospect and 4th Street. Now, to understand the importance and significance of working to intentionally reinvest in Jackson's South Side, you have to understand the history of the intentional disinvestment in Jackson's South Side. From redlining, the loss of about 500 homes, 60 plus businesses, and more during urban renewal. All of that, you get the recipe that created the conditions that we see on the South Side today. Lack of home ownership, lack of businesses, and loss of hope. So we look forward to projects that will work to backfill housing and provide opportunities for home ownership, because home ownership is the #1 way to create generational wealth. Absolutely. We look forward to supporting the development of new businesses and helping the growth of the existing businesses in the area, because lack of economy means lack of power. And we are working tirelessly to bring in a real grocery store to the south side of Jackson. See, it's important to note that we are listening to the voices from the community, and we know and understand that nobody is asking for a handout, but seeking equitable access to food, equitable opportunity for ownership, equitable access to opportunities in general. To learn more about the work of the MLK-CIA, I would again like to personally invite you all to join us 1 week from today over at the King Center for Vice Mayor Arlene Robinson's First Ward meeting, which will take place Wednesday, March 23rd, 6 p.m. at the King Center. You can learn all about that project and more that we have going on with the MLK-CIA. So I hope to see you next week. We recognize that there is a severe need for affordable housing in the city of Jackson, much like other communities. That's why I look forward to seeing the groundbreaking for projects like the Hayes Hotel, the Allen Lofts, which will have 67 market rate units, the Greenwood Apartments with 51 units, the Blackstone Apartments with 53 units, the Dealing Corner Housing Project from Habitat for Humanity, some promising backfill housing projects developing for the South Side, and the fully appointed Affordable Housing Commission to continue the work of making sure that we seek and find ways that we can fill the need for housing for the homeless, for returning citizens, for low, moderate, and high-income families that all call Jackson home. Lastly, I briefly want to talk about the lead service line replacements. These are the lines that deliver clean drinking water to the faucets in your homes. We've done the inventory. We studied the cost. I've even compared the cost to some other communities, because I like asking questions to other places, make sure we all in order, okay? So here's what we know. In Jackson, we got 11,004 lead service lines to replace. That's gonna cost us a little over $90 million. While we have about 20 years or so, maybe a little more, to get them all replaced, I'm sure that we would all agree that sooner is better than later when it comes to securing the safety of our drinking water. And I believe that in every tragedy, there is opportunity. And the tragedy of COVID has presented a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to ask for a combination of support from our state and federal legislators to help us fully fund this project. Between the rise in water rates, other utilities, groceries, gas, and more, it will not hurt for us to ask for help in this area. The worst they can say is no, right? So stay tuned, because I'm gonna need every person in this community's help when it comes time to make that ask. Can't just be me asking for that help. So let's recap. Mr. Parker said, remind him what you told him, right? So let's recap. Tonight we've discussed the state of the city. The state of the city is we are in a renaissance, a rebirth, if you will. We touched on some of the accomplishments of 2021 and given a glimpse of what we know will be happening in 2022. And we covered some of the opportunities that we're facing and the solutions we're working on for those opportunities. Public safety, economic development, revitalizing the South Side, housing, the lead service lines. And I think the need for our roads to be replaced and maintained speaks for itself. We all rode in on the same roads. The opportunities we are faced with are absolutely an uphill battle. But we are Jackson, and when we come together and work collaboratively, we produce results. Results like Andy's Place that just received $300,000 to support the build of 11 units to support recovering pregnant women. The Jackson YMCA just received $3 million for their project, and the $1.6 million received for the Pearl Loop North Branch that will construct a new water transmission main, allowing us to abandon the old one that was built way back in 1926, which is going to provide additional protection to our historic train station. These were projects supported by our Congressman Tim Walberg, and they are an example of what happens when we stand together and advocate for the needs of our community at the state and federal level. Now, 105 days ago, when I was sworn in to be the mayor of the city of Jackson, I took an oath. On that day, I made a promise. That promise was to work on the issues that I spoke about in my campaign. Today is part of a confirmation that I'm keeping that promise. But just like it took me more than my own vote to get me elected, it's gonna take more than just myself to fulfill these promises. So I'm gonna need help from you all if we're gonna see some action. Okay, I'm just making sure y'all still with me. So, it's reading month, right? Y'all know March is reading month, right? Maybe I need to tell y'all, March is reading month. Now I'm gonna ask y'all again. Y'all know March is reading month, right? Okay, March is reading month. So, one of my favorite authors is Dr. Seuss. While several of his books are my favorites, one is actually my favorite of all the favorites, and it's because it reminds me of Jackson. That the book and the movie, right? It's the same thing. I'm not sure if y'all familiar, but it's called Horton Hears a Who. Are y'all familiar? Okay, I know most of y'all are, but let me just set the tone, okay? So Horton Hears a Who is a book about an elephant that finds like a dandelion or a speck of dust, and it has an entire community living on this speck of dust. Now, Horton, the elephant, can hear these people, okay? I'm just trying to set the tone for you right quick, right? And they're running around because now they think Horton is crazy, and they like, we getting ready to dunk this in some Beetlejuice or whatever they called it. I can't think what they called it. And he's trying to tell them, y'all gotta make some noise to stop this. So I just want to paint the picture right quick because I'm gonna read you the part that I need you guys to take with you to remember, and this is literally my call to action to you all tonight from Dr. Seuss of all places, right? You'd be surprised what you find in a kid's book. So it goes like this. And it's funny because it's the mayor, right? So if you know the book, that's the ironic part to me. Okay, so through the town rushed the mayor, from east to west, but everyone seemed to be doing his best. Everyone seemed to be yapping or yipping. Everyone seemed to be beeping or bipping, but it wasn't enough. All this ruckus and roar, he had to find someone to help him make more. He raced through each building, searched floor to floor, and just as he felt he was getting nowhere, almost about to give up in despair, he suddenly burst through a door that mayor discovered. One shirker, don't be a shirker, y'all. One shirker, quiet, hidden away in the Fairfax Apartments, apartment 12J. A very small shirker named Jojo was standing, just standing and bouncing a yo-yo. Not making a sound, not a yip, not a chirp. And the mayor rushed inside and he grabbed up that young twerp. And he climbed with the lad up the Eiffelberg Tower. This, cried the mayor, is our dawn's darkest hour. The time for all whose blood that is red, to come to the aid of your country, he said. We've got to make noises in greater amounts. So open your mouth, young lad, for every voice counts. Every voice counts, every voice. So my ask to you is simple. Wherever you go, whatever you're doing, in whatever place it may be in the world outside of Jackson, please let people know that we are here. We are here. We are here. While we may have many differences of opinions, backgrounds, upbringings, family values, political affiliations, and more, we are all still Jackson. And I'm sure that we all want to live in a city with safe, vibrant, walkable neighborhoods, with a thriving economy, well-maintained infrastructure, where anyone can feel at home and look to raise a family or retire, and where local government exists to serve its community. We all want to see some action. We all want to see some action. All right, thank you guys.
One more time for our Mayor Jackson. Outstanding job, outstanding job. The next voice you hear, first of all, in our type of government that we have, which is a council manager type government, our citizens elect the city council to represent the citizens. That council hires a city manager to run City Hall, to run the day-to-day operations of our city. Our city is very blessed to have our city manager as a person that works for him. It has been great for us to have that opportunity to walk in and speak to a city manager that will listen to you, that will talk to you, that will take into consideration what it is you feel needs to be done for your department. It's a very encouraging when you can come in with an idea, share it with your city manager, and he'll give you the go-ahead to get that done. If he disagrees with you, he'll let you know that too. He'll give you that, Jonathan, he kind of just looks away and you really think that'll work? But he does give us an opportunity to do that. And he is my boss, and make sure I said all the stuff he told me to say. Just kidding here. Welcome to, I want to introduce you to our city manager, Mr. Jonathan Greene.
Thank you, everybody. I really don't know how to follow the mayor. And I think looking at the time, I don't have to say much, and we'll be able to get out of here nice and early. But before I get started, I'd like to recognize the city staff who made tonight possible. Lisa Motino in the 14th floor office, Kelli Hoover in Parks and Rec, Aaron Dimmick, our PAO, and of course, the man of the most hats in the city of Jackson. Not just the physical hats he's probably got in his closet, but the ones he wears for the city, John Willis. Thank you all, team, for making this happen tonight. As I was sitting there listening to the mayor's vision, where the city's headed seemed like a big challenge, almost impossible. And I only have one word in response to that: good. Give us the hard problems. Give us the challenges. On behalf of the city staff, about 200 of us, we're ready. We are more than ready. And on behalf of the volunteers and our boards and commissions, and many are here tonight, well, some are here tonight, I'll say that, they're ready. The volunteers who help council identify issues, solve problems, we're ready. And I'll only bother you for a few more minutes, and I'm gonna let you know how we're gonna make this vision laid out by the mayor tonight come true. There are 5 key things, 5 key aspects city employees will be showing to make this vision come true. The first one is adaptability, being adaptive. Don't always believe what you believe. I think the beginning of 2020 drilled that home for us. Did anyone think something like this was gonna happen with COVID in a pandemic? I don't think so. That led me to think, in order to make what we need to make happen here in the city of Jackson happen, we need to be adaptive. We need to be able to change. The second point is initiative. When we were shut down, we had to look for ways to deliver our services and connect with the city. We needed to take initiative. We needed to step out of our box, look people in the eye and say, here's what I can do, here's what I can't do. I'm gonna keep trying. The third point, and most important point, well, second most important part I'd say to making this vision come happen, and I heard it a few times mentioned in the speech, is customer service. You all are out there are our customers. We will be focused on you. We will be focused on your needs. We'll be focused on making your lives in the city of Jackson better. The fourth point about that is really just kind of an internal thing. But I think you'll really identify with it. And for me, it's allowing department heads like John, department heads out there, and our city staff, the people closest to the issues, have significant influence on their solutions. Who better than the person closest to the problem to have influence, to say, hey, this idea may work, or I like that, but have we thought about it this way? Because this is what I'm seeing. This is what I know to be true when I'm working on the problem. And the fifth point I want to make, the fifth thing that's going to drive this home, is leadership. I firmly believe that leadership is a solution to every problem. Leadership will make the vision come true. Leadership at every level, from council down to part-time recreation staff, displaying leadership, owning problems, working in a customer service-oriented fashion with people and saying, I hear what you're saying, I see what you're talking about, here's what I can do about it, here's what I can't do about it. That'll happen. Let's not be ignorant of that. That will happen, but here's why. Explain the why to people. Leadership is going to solve every problem we have. Leadership is going to make this vision happen. And that's great. Those are five things. They sound pretty cool. Good sound bites tonight. But what are we thinking about as we go about that? As we go about making this vision come true? I think that's more important. What are the values? What do we value when we're talking about leadership? What do we value when we talk about customer service? What do we value when we talk about being adaptive or showing initiative? Well, in my mind, those five things are integrity, doing what you say you're going to do, looking people square in the eye. Second thing is inclusion. We've got a lot of work to do, a lot of solutions. We always need to be thinking, is what we're doing right? Is what we're doing right for everyone? And if it's not, what are we going to do about it? It's not the right solution if it's not inclusive. The third value, I get my numbers right, city managers not known for counting. The third point, ethics. Is what we're doing best for everyone? Is this something I want? Is this something my ego is telling me that I need to have? Is this in my own self-interest, or is this in the best interest of the city of Jackson? That value, along with inclusion, right up there for me. The fourth point, humility. We're going to get some things right. We're going to get a lot of things wrong. We're going to be humble in our mistakes. We're going to be humble in our successes. I know, well, I'll tell you this, I like to think I'm the smartest person in the world. That doesn't sound too humble, but here's why I think that. Because I know I don't know everything. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to learn from you about the solutions you think ought to happen, about the problems you think are most important. I think that is to Councilmember Gunn's point about how do we prioritize what we're doing. Step back and listen. Step back and listen. Be humble. Don't go around thinking it's our way and it's the only way. And the fifth value is discipline. And it's not discipline in the sense that City Manager Greene gets to go around giving people time off. Or you got to go home early. Or I don't know about that. I don't know about your continued employment. That's not that. Discipline is discipline to these values. It is the continuous, daily commitment to what I just talked about. To those 10 things. With those 10 things in mind, the vision laid out by the mayor tonight is challenging. It may be impossible, but like I said in the beginning, good. Bring it. I'm ready. Staff is ready. Our volunteers are ready. And I am so excited to make this vision come true. Thank you for having me speak tonight. God bless.
One more time, put your hands together for all of our speakers for tonight. My mother says there are two kinds of people. People who do things and people who talk about people who do things. Make sure when you leave tonight, you're one of those people that do things. Everybody take care and have a great evening.